So my name is Tamara, and when I was very young, I was diagnosed with degenerative disc disease. Um, a few years into that, I had a couple herniated discs, and I was having issues with pinched nerves going down my arms. It was all in my lower neck, and I dealt with that for probably about 2 years. With PT and medication and everything. The doctors, they didn't want to do surgery because of my age, but then after 2 years of nothing happening, and I had gotten to the point where it was hard to hold my head up because the pain in my neck was so bad. They finally decided that they were going to do disc replacement surgery. And my MRI was about 3 months old, so they wanted me to do an updated one before deciding if they were going to do a single level or a double level. And my appointment to go back after that MRI was on a Monday, and the Sunday before, we're in church, and Pastor BJ asked if he could pray for me. And out of everything he said, the one thing that didn't even stick out to me in the moment was he said, "I believe that you are healed even if you don't feel the healing." And I didn't really think too much on that, but the next day I go to the doctor and I'm still feeling all this pain. And the doctor comes in, Zach's with me, and he says, how are you feeling today? And I explained to him pretty much the same pain I had been explaining for 2 years. And he looked kind of puzzled, and he said, "Give me just a minute." And he left the room, and he come back in, and he goes, "I don't know what to tell you, but your MRI was completely normal." And so after struggling for 2 years, finally thinking that surgery was going to be what finally got me feeling better, I actually left there in tears because I felt like I was going to have to start all over because I'm still feeling this pain. So I know something's wrong. And then later that day, for whatever reason, Pastor BJ's words just really started resonating with me. And I woke up the next day and I found myself like searching for my pain. I was like moving every way and I couldn't figure out why. I just felt fine. And after a couple days of that, I kind of like decided I was going to test God. And I was like, "Okay, God, Zach had just built us a new deck." And I said, "This deck needs stained. And if I'm healed, I've spent last 2 years on a heating pad and I'm now up. I said, if I'm healed, I'm gonna stain this deck." And so I did. So while I was having all my issues, just riding in the car, like you can imagine a bowling ball sitting on your neck is what it feels like when you have all those disc problems in your lower neck. So my head felt so heavy and I would have to lay my head down in the car. I couldn't do the 30-40 minute ride to church without being in pain. And after I was healed that summer, I actually, one of our daughters graduated high school and I was able to take my girls on a drive all the way to San Diego. We did a whole cross-country road trip. I drove the entire trip. One day I drove 17 hours. Never had to take any kind of pain medication. Never felt any discomfort other than what anybody else would feel doing that drive. So it was amazing. So it's been 9 years now, and I have not had any issues with my disc, any issues with nerves, and what is supposed to be a very progressive disease has not progressed at all in 9 years. So that is my testimony that, as BJ said, sometimes you don't feel it right away, but you have to believe it. And that was my part that I had to do, was God had already done the healing. I actually believe when those MRIs were taken that it showed what was wrong, but he changed those MRI images before I could even get back to the doctor. And I didn't feel it, but it had happened and I had to believe it. And I had to accept it. And so here I am.